Good afternoon. My name is Mette, and I am with the eTech 570 class and look forward to sharing with you today some thoughts on artificial intelligence, going back to robot and robotics, defining a few concepts such as extended reality, such as virtual reality, and augmented reality. I think that there is a great deal of conversation and, of course, a great deal of fear of whether AI as we know it and as fast as it's developing, whether it'll be divine or doom, looking to use it in education and moving forward. The concern of AI is, of course, whether it is going to eliminate jobs, if it's going to make students and teachers less motivated, whether it's going to take away the opportunity to be creative and learn by you not having to endure the hardship of overcoming writer's block, and whether you are able to stop misinformation and really recognize what's facts versus what's fiction. So we have to really look at how we create constructive purpose and learning opportunities and how we use AI in the context of education to motivate, collaborate, and bring the students to an even higher level because we now have tools that make them and us move faster. I do think that there is a great deal of opportunity with AI, and I do think that my little avatar friends thinks the same thing.
Hi, I'm Meta and this is ETEC 570. I'm an AI avatar and I look forward to sharing thoughts on AR, VR, and AI. Educational transformation is awaiting and the sky is the limit.
So as we look into the future, we certainly have to look in the past as well. And there has been a great deal of developments since more than 100 years ago, with all the tools becoming available. What has been wonderful is that with the development of technology, that tools that were previously strictly available to a very small audience and available at a very high price, because of the rapid development of technology, has become far less expensive, and as such has become available for people both for medicinal purposes and also for development purposes, putting it within reach, and as such creating a more equitable access to these great tools and opportunities to use technology for good. Um, if we go back in the dawn of times, of course, looking at what really robots started out as, or what this artificial intelligence started out as, robots originally were just mechanics, if you will. They were programmable machines that helped us as humans perform different tasks. So we saw the first robots, if you will, back in the 50s. And after about 50 more years moving forward, these robots have, of course, become extremely sensitive, very accurate. They have been incorporated not only in, if you will, in warfare, but in wonderful areas such as medicine, where they can do precision surgery that maybe even a person has a very tough doing as many times as a machine does. And again, with this improved decision making and increased accuracy, and also the mobile solutions, because some of these machines have become far smaller in size, and therefore you can move them around and you can apply them and make them accessible different places. That has put robots into an entirely different category. So as we know robots today, not only on the automotive side of things and on the manufacturing side of things, we see them also in more human roles, performing very important tasks that has to be done with a great deal of precision, and could be a matter of life and death. As we move into virtual reality and talk about what that is, virtual reality is when you're using a computer to create a 3D image or an environment, and that you can immerse yourself in this type of environment. We saw that first come onto the stage in the late 60s, where Mr. Sutherland and his student created a big old head mounted display that was connected to a computer. And today, of course, we have far more eloquent and smaller units that you put on yourself. Many of you might have seen the Oculus Quest, and you might have it at home, or your kids might have it. And to create these kind of virtual tours or gamified experiences have shown to be a fantastic way of teaching people or having more sort of a real life feel, as well as also that you're able to use it for good purposes such as helping mental health patients, treating anxiety, because here you can immerse them in certain for them otherwise unsettling circumstances that they can be exposed to in a safe simulated environment to learn a better response to the situation. So there's good also use of virtual reality for education. And then, of course, we have augmented reality. This was a term that was coined back in the 90s by a Boeing researcher to define these generated images. And the first real application came by the U.S. Air Force, uh, and then roll in another about 20 years, and then the first application, commercial application, came in place in the context of marketing, and that was 2008, as used by BMW. And I think these days, I don't know if you're tired of them, but I've seen so many of these fun AR effects on Instagram where people put little animations on their faces, whether it be painting on their faces or whether you're face dancing because now you have a picture that you can make dance or sing to you. But there's much you can do with augmented reality. And you see it too. You see many times people will augment their pictures. They will remove a few wrinkles or they will do a better soft setting. They will sort of highlight and light up of their pictures. So these days, there's a great deal of augmented reality being used, which certainly is fantastic and creative. You might have used it when you were trying to organize or set up a new kitchen or living room by going to IKEA. You can use their virtual IKEA Place app, which allows you to organize furniture and have a visual augmented reality of what this new space would look like before you even put it in motion. So there's a great deal of things you can do. Of course, people can use it for business as well. The realtors use augmented reality by coordinating a virtual space so that if they have a house that they're showing, which is completely bare, they can actually show their potential clients what this could look like as soon as you put furniture in it. So there is much good you can do, but remember again, it's an augmented reality. As we go in and look at these kind of concepts and look at XR, extended reality in education, I think it is amazing what can be done. I put together a few just of some of the suggested apps that I believe are really helpful for instructors to help bring different concepts to life in the school setting, whether it be in science, by where you can create a tornado, studying the funnel up close in the schoolroom, whether it be looking at the sky via the Sky View app, or whether it be uh, doing a visual or looking at internal organs of a frog by using the Frogopedia app rather than you having to actually dissect the frog, which I think was a very old tradition, not enjoyed by many, to put it nicely. Then, of course, also you have these wonderful apps that you can use to take your students around the world, visiting the Louvre in Paris or visiting Mount Everest, taking them places up close and personal in a very real feeling setting, which makes for low cost traveling and exploring. And the fact that you can all do it together is just a tremendous experience. There are other great XR applications, whether it be virtual speech, where you can practice your speech, or monthly, where you can learn a language and have real conversations with an avatar sort of in this setting. And last but not least, of course, many companies will already use XR in their training, such as pilots using flight simulators or doctors using simulators to make operations, which I think we can all agree is a fantastic idea that somebody has tried it in a simulation environment 100 times before they do something which could literally mean the difference between life and death. So, as we venture into the fantastic realm of artificial intelligence, these days, of course, we are very much exploring the uses of both predictive AI to forecast possibilities based on patterns into the future, but also generative AI, creating new content by ways of machine imagery, music, and text. And it is all a concept that came about in the 50s, where this framed artificial intelligence was coined, but the big leaps have really been taken over the past 15 years, and I say even over the last 10, as we were introduced to the opportunities of having virtual assistants helping us take care of mundane tasks. Look at Apple Series from 2011. Amazon's Alexa coming to the scene about 9 years ago. And all these widespread adaptations have enabled users to make good use of machines to do tasks, retrieve information, interacting with other devices. Educators have the opportunities to use a variety of voice operated tools in classes as well that will allow them to focus on interacting with the students rather than having to go back and look up things on their computers and taking care of mundane tasks. So, this is where I really believe that there's a great deal of opportunities still for AI to be of help, allowing the teachers to do what they do best, and that is to provide context and concepts to the students for better learning. Now, generative AI, moving on from predictive AI and just AI in general, of course, has completely exploded. About a year ago. And then, of course, with the inception in November of 2022 of ChatGPT, AI has now started an entirely new trip of its own. But looking at generative AI, it is amazing what you can generate. And I call it a talent accelerator because I really think that by allowing people that maybe before had writer's block in certain areas, now they don't, and they can generate text, images, and many other things and really accelerate the explorative journey and the collaborations by ways of new mediums. Now, not only can, of course, generative AI create amazingly cute context and images. Most of you might know Midjourney or Discord as a place where you can generate these AI images in a variety of ways. But I think also we are using AI already in the context of not only cutesy pictures. There has been some discussion, though. There has been discussion as to what if you generate AIs and state you want it to be generated the same way in the same genre as like the Mona Lisa, or you want to create an image in the same way of a certain specific artist. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits coming up, no doubt, and a great deal of discussion as far as the origin of those images and the creativity. If you're basing those images on other images, where is the ownership of those images and the creativity, and who really has possession, who owns this creative outlet, if you will. And there will be a great deal of discussion, no doubt, coming up on that, as that has not been resolved quite successfully yet. But there is much happening in the scene. So, what has been said by research recently? Well, there is a ton of great articles out on AI, no doubt. There was one of the scientific reports I read where they had literally gone in and looked at more than 16, they were examining 16 million tweets from 5.5 million users. No doubt that's information that has also been gone through using AI with as many data points. But they were basically viewing, of course, in general, that this is going to be a very educational, transformative tool. And there are certain limitations. We are going to need 5G technology to fully get the best of it when it comes to speed and reliability. But in general, it was found that many people felt excited about AI to have the opportunity to save time and do things more efficiently. And they were, of course, worried about surveillance, hacking, privacy, and the lack of human connection. As it can be very, very tempting to simply sit there talking with your machine. As we've seen, many people these days are highly immersed in their smartphones and in the interaction um, with a variety of apps, more so than actually having human connection, because there's so much happening on that screen, and on top of that, in very high definition. But it is generally agreed with recent research articles that ChatGPT and AI can be applied in a big range of areas. Very importantly, in education, we already talked about medical, history, math, physics, and many more areas. And there is much to be explored, of course, as you also have to pair that greatly with ethics to make sure, again, that even though you can, doesn't mean that you necessarily should. So there needs to be some check and balances in the way that all this is applied. Now, I also took the opportunity to kind of look at what current opinion is. And I'm happy to suggest for you to take a look at Sam Khan's recent TED Talk about ChatGPT, because he as well is a huge proponent of ChatGPT and the opportunities that it will generate. Because as he phrased it, what a great way to give personal one-to-one um, tuition to students. The feedback that's personalized, that's kind, that's patient, is something you can scale to your instruction. Allowing the teachers to have more personal teaching assistants so that they can focus on teaching. They really feel that, and certainly Khan Academy has done that. They have a concept called Khanmigo, where they developed this ChatGPT concept to sort of the next level courteous interactive media, where the AI is actually able to go back when you put it in student mode and divine possible misconception, to think about ways, or to basically come out with suggestions on why the student has come up with what they're doing. It will ask questions when it's in student mode. It will not give you answers. It will ask you to consider further. It will allow you uh, p- uh, positive feedback. It will be patient. It will explain to you why certain things are as they are, but it's not going to give you the responses. Those you're going to have to generate yourself. And there is definitely much it can do. So, looking at what ChatGPT or an interactive AI tool can do is it could potentially help you become better at debating. It'll help you fine tune your arguments or be a good writing coach. It can respond to whether your evidence as input, if it supports your claim. It can also, if you change it to teacher's mode, maybe it can help instructors to figure out how they best teach a certain lesson that will best bring forth that specific material. And of course, it can also do the mundane things that take more than 38% of teachers' time today, namely the grading, the progress report, and specific amount of feedback, which could be more mundane in nature. So there is much that can be done. You can streamline communication via AI with parents. You can have AI composed, again, avatar greetings, or a variety of lists and trips, and just these regular things that must be done in the context of teaching, but that really take away from what educators can do with and for their students, where it's you need that more focused one-to-one time. But the way we are using instructors' time today is not conducive, and that needs to change. And that, I am confident, is something that can be positively changed by the use of AI. So if ChatGPT can help teachers write reports, or do initial grading, or respond to emails, or remove certain mundane tasks, and help with accuracy and pattern detection, no doubt that AI can help spur both creativity and also help grow the students in a much more personalized way. So I would have to agree with many of the articles I read that AI can be and will be developed for good, but we still have to pair it with ethics consideration to make sure that we know how it works, and that we know to what extent it steps in. So if we look at it and say, well, then is AI, is it divine or doom? I would have to say I consider it very much divine. And I think that we just need to keep on studying it. We need to keep on collaborating. We need to keep on sharing best in class practices to make sure that the students get the best possible version of AI, for us to develop them as student. And I think in that way, AI can truly be a talent uh, accelerator, if you will. So I want to say thank you so much for listening to me this afternoon. I think this was a super interesting topic. I'm sure we're going to see many, many more of these AI presentations, and I look forward to listening in on yours.